Do it.
Right.
Welcome back to the podcast, y'all, where self-improvement is the movement. Today, I have none other than my OG, my former co-worker, my friend, John Fedrick.
Oh man, that is quite an intro, man. I need
Yes,
to
sir.
hire you. I need to hire
Hey,
you,
man. Go ahead and introduce yourself, man.
Oh, I'm John. It's not too much about me. I'm super hard talking about myself, but like Jimmy said, like we know each other. We linked in at the gym. It was always a familiarity thing, and then we started working with each other, and we've been tight ever since then. You know, we still get out here and kick it every once in a blue moon, but we always pick up where we left off from. So
Yes, sir.
we've been talking about doing this.
Yes, sir. But yeah, man, we have been talking about doing this for a minute now, just because, like I tell y'all, whenever I have these guests on, I like to have people on who I have conversations like this with, without the camera, without the lights, without the mics, and bringing in the mics, bringing in the camera, bringing in all this extra shit. I just want to put it out there for y'all to see where our mindset is at, and I think it's a gift I can give to y'all. So I'm glad to have you on, man. And first things first, how's your mental health, man? How you feeling?
Man, mental health is good, man. It's mental health and physical health is definitely linked. The gym sessions has definitely been therapeutic to me, so I've been pretty consistent with that. So like mental health is good. What about you?
I'm in a good space right now.
Okay.
I think I don't try to get too high or too low anymore.
Okay.
I really try to stay, as cliche as it sounds, try to stay as even keel as possible, because there's going to be a lot of shit thrown your way, and it's all about how you react to it. And you just want to make sure you're in the right mindset to act upon whatever happens, whatever
Right.
life throws your way. So I really have been even keel, and that's made me a more peaceful person, a happier person. So
Okay.
just trying to keep it like that, man.
Yeah, I think it's like it's not so much what happens to you, but it's like how you feel about what took place.
Yeah.
And it's like if you keeping that even keel mindset, your life it has its peaks and its valleys, but you keeping that even keel, you know how to address everything.
Exactly, yeah. So I'm just trying to stay focused on the things I'm doing, like this stuff right here, my sports stuff, graduating college, like I told you, graduating in a couple months here. So,
Bro, that's crazy. How do you feel?
dog, like it's like a bittersweet thing, of
Okay.
course, because it's like, damn, I'm ready to get out of here.
Yeah.
But then it's like, I did have so many memories. Me being in college was the time period I experienced the most growth in my
Okay.
life, personal development life.
Yeah.
And me going through all the shit I went through during that time, and me still staying focused on school,
Right.
still doing the things I need to do,
Yeah.
it's like, damn, like I can feel proud of myself.
Yeah,
you know?
man, sense of accomplishment, man. You did that. Congrats.
Yeah, appreciate that, man. This is another question I like to throw in there for each and every guest that I bring on now.
Okay.
John, if your life was a book and people were going to be reading it and everything, putting it out on display, what would this chapter of your life right now be called, and why?
That's actually an interesting way that you phrased that, because my life is somewhat like you ever seen one of them Tyler Perry movies?
Yeah.
So check this out. So if I was to like sum up my life is like if you drop one of them Tyler Perry characters and put him in the middle of a telenovela, that's how my life is.
Okay.
It's been full of ups and downs, but I say like right here is like the redemption arc. So it's
Ooh,
like
that's tough. Okay.
a lot of those things. Oh man, that's a tough one. But it's like a lot of those things that I really didn't take account for what I was doing. It was just like I was doing it. I didn't necessarily always feel motivated, but when I didn't feel motivated, I was consistent.
Yeah.
And some of that consistency is starting to really kind of like pave the way for me.
Exactly.
It's like my gift is making rooms for me to actually. It's afforded me to like have opportunities that I thought about, I dreamed about, and it's just like they're starting to come into fruition. It's like I'm not even doing anything. I'm just being the person that I am. So like, yeah, this is definitely the redemption arc.
What makes it redemption though?
Redemption?
Because
Man, like
what happened to
Jimmy,
make it redemption?
I'm not gonna lie, bro. It's been situations where I've been vulnerable around the wrong people, and I got like my feelings hurt, and it made me. I won't say cold, but it made me become a little bit more precautious about who I give my energy to. And, you know, I call it the redemption arc because those people that hurt me, those aren't all people. Those were those specific people.
Yeah.
So it's like you can't close yourself out to the world.
You can't generalize.
You can't generalize everybody. And I think it's human nature for us to do that. You know what I'm saying? It's like once you hurt, like you want to protect the heart. But I mean, if you stay guarded like that, it's just like you closing yourself off from opportunities.
To blessings.
Right.
Yeah.
It's like you can't get a blessing like this. You gotta open up, you know?
I'm glad you brought that up because we're gonna talk about that in a minute, like later on down the line. But let's get into the meat and potatoes of this thing, man. Tell me about your journey a little bit, like where you started to where you are now.
Okay.
Tell me about it because I'm trying to get to the bottom of something and I want to see if I can get it here.
Okay. So where would you like me to start?
The
fitness journey,
just journey of so I'll break it down like this. Just the journey of how you became the person that you are today.
Okay. You know what? We met doing fitness, so I'll start off with the fitness origin story. Okay. So it's actually two parts of this. Okay. I'm originally from Chicago. You know, I spent the better part of my life in Texas. You know, I got family from the deep south, you know, Arkansas and whatnot. And I don't know if y'all know this or not, but it's just like, it's not a whole bunch to do in those rural type of areas. So they do what we call playing the dozens. Like, they ain't got nothing to do, so they roast people, right? And at the time, I'm like 9 years old. Like, I don't think that I'm fat. But, you know, like, I was around my older cousins. They got to talking about me. It's like, oh, you know, you fat ass or whatnot. And I'm like,
oh,
I don't have no, you know, clever, you know, witty comebacks or whatever. So, bro, I'm just sitting up there. I'm just taking it or whatnot. But then all of a sudden, I started to become conscious. I was like, you know what? Maybe I am fat. So what do I do about it? So I started to do calisthenics, you know, work out. And, of course, I got into, like, doing sports, playing basketball or whatnot. And it was very liberating. Yeah. It actually allowed me to be able to connect with my father because he played basketball. And we didn't necessarily always have, like, the best relationship, but that was one of those things that kind of brought our relationship together. Yeah, it was like the connection. So fast forward, like I said, I'm from Chicago, spent the better part of my life here in Texas. I graduate. I got somewhat of a decent build. Like, to put things in perspective for you, I'm 6 feet tall. When I graduated from high school, I'm like a $150, soaking wet. And I go back home to Chicago to visit family, and my little brother, he got a head start whenever it came to working out recreationally. I'm the oldest out of 5 siblings.
Yeah.
So, man, I go back home, and I see this cat. Bro, this cat is, like, swole, got the tattoos or whatnot, and I'm like, it's like I'm not hating, but it's like now all of a sudden I'm self-conscious again because I'm like, damn, you know what? That's my little brother, and he bigger than me.
Yeah.
So it really kind of lit a fire and it inspired me. And at the time, I didn't really think that I could put on weight because I didn't really imagine myself like big or having muscle or whatever. Yeah. I was just thought I was destined to be skinny. But I said, you know what? Let me actually put something in this and let me try. So, of course, like most people, you know, I was reluctant about going to the gym because I didn't want to be judged. So I worked out at home. You know, back in the day, that's when 50 Cent first came out. I'm back there listening to Get Rich or Die Trying, doing push-ups, and I got dumbbells or whatnot. And after a while, after I built up a little bit of confidence, I went to the gym, and it was nothing like what I expected. A lot of the OGs or the older brothers or whatnot, they really looked and seen what I was doing, and they helped me out. And after a while, I made progress. And I never forget how it made me feel because it was like all that energy that I had put into not thinking that I could do it, I took it back. You know, I was actually able to achieve that goal. And I thought to myself, I said, man, you know what? It's probably somebody out there that didn't get started or was probably going through the same struggles that I did. So slowly but surely, I got involved in the fitness industry.
Okay.
Yeah, and I ain't look back.
Never look back.
Yeah.
And look at him now, y'all.
Yeah, man.
You know?
It's the first thing people see when they look at me, bro. I be in Walmart, it be like casual conversation. This dude was just like, he said, man, what you doing? You lifting up like, you know, radiators or whatever, bro? What you doing with them guns or whatnot? And bro, I was like, bro, I'm just in here shopping. I'm trying to get some chips.
Yeah. It's a great journey. It feels so rewarding at the end of it.
It does.
Yeah.
Especially knowing that you put in the work. Because you know what I say, I mean, it is like a physical aspect, but it's something about the respect that a great physique it commands from the audience, because you know what, that's not something that nobody can take away from you.
Yeah.
Rich, poor, black, white, celebrity status or whatnot, you look at that person and you cannot take that hard work from them. I think that's why we have so much respect and admiration for these people that have these great physiques, because we know the hard work that they put into that. That lets you know something about that person, that they're dedicated to discipline.
Yeah. So tell me about how you became the person you are now.
So I would say like the one unique thing about me that a lot of people, they feel is weird, but I mean is kind of how I grew up. So I'm 36 years old. I've never, not one time ever, taken a sip of alcohol. I got real close, and that was like some peer pressure. That's a story for another day. But so the reason behind all that is like my father, he drank. And like I said, I'm the oldest out of 5 siblings. There'd be times where like my siblings would call me and they say, hey, they affectionately call me John. They say, hey, John, you might want to find somewhere else to, stay the night. And because they knew that whenever he got drunk for whatever reason, he would get violent, but it was just towards me. And, it always tripped me out because, here I am, a young person, not really emotionally mature to the level that I am right now, trying to figure out like, why my dad don't like me, because he would get drunk and, he would talk to me like crazy, try to put his hands on me and whatnot. But then like the morning after, it would be as if nothing happened. And I was like so confused. So it's like for me, I told myself, I said, you know what? Whenever I'm a father, if I have a son, I never want to put my son through what my father put me through, because I knew that my father, he loved me, but whenever he was in an altered state of consciousness, he really wasn't able to articulate that love.
Yeah.
But I knew the love was definitely there. So because of that, I end up actually inadvertently breaking a generational curse. And I didn't know this, but like, talking to family or whatnot, his dad, my grandfather, the person that I'm named after, he also suffered from alcoholism. And then to come to find out, like, my mother's father, he actually died of cirrhosis of the liver when she was like 9 years old. So this thing, alcoholism, that was like a generational curse.
Yeah.
And it was just almost like I feel like I was chosen to break that curse. So it's just like my kids have that much more chance to actually not succumb to that same thing because I broke it for them. Yeah.
Yeah. So what I was really trying to get down to the bottom of is trying to figure out how you became as knowledgeable of a person as you are. Because there's a lot of people out there who go through a lot of experience, a lot of stuff, but for you to be as knowledgeable as you are in so many different areas is always something that really impressed me and something that was always like admiring to me. So I just want to like say that really inspires me to, get in my bag in terms of just having knowledge.
Right.
You never know where it'll take you. So like just having knowledge of so many different areas of life, and that helps you like connect with so many different people as well.
That is a big thing right there, like connection. I feel like we're all connected. So one thing about me is like if I meet somebody for the first time, I try to find out what our common ground is.
Yeah.
Because we don't know each other. We're strangers, but we have something in common. And I try to study abroad because I'm a nerd. I'm into a whole bunch of different things. And it's just like I can pick apart anything. It's like, oh, you like Pokemon? What's your favorite Pokemon? And just go off of that, whatever presents itself.
Yeah. You know what? Let's just hop into this right now.
Okay.
So another thing that I was really admiring about from you is, we work at Fitness Connection Gym, and just seeing how this man interacts with each and every person that walks through the door is insane. Like he said, he'll find a common ground for him and that other person to talk about, and it'll work just like that. He can, have a conversation with anybody. So how do you, I want to know your mindset of using your knowledge, using your great people skills, I would say, to bring together the community, because I feel like you do bring together the community, like wherever you're at.
Yeah.
Like
Honestly,
I want to know your mindset on that.
I mean, I try and I value community. I even early on I was listening to like a lot of like gurus or whatever, like individuals like yourself that's doing what you're doing right now, creating this platform to speak on self improvement or whatnot. Back in the day, I was exposed to like Tony Robbins, and he told me two things that actually stuck out to me. One of those things, he said, treat people like they have a necklace on that says "Make me feel important." You know what I'm saying? And it was just like, I said, man, you know what? Who doesn't want to feel important? And then whenever you genuine with it, people, they can feel that. It's authentic.
Yeah.
And the other thing he said was, a smart man seeks advice, but a wise man evaluates the advice that he's been given. So you're going to have a lot of people that tell you certain things, but it's just like, is what they telling you, can you apply it to your life and your quality of your life be better for it? A lot of people going to say certain things and whatnot, but can you use what they're giving you? You can extract the knowledge from like a wino, if you self-aware enough to be able to like use that, what they're giving you.
But I feel like people aren't as self-aware as they should be to really break that down,
Man, it's out there. It's really out there.
Yeah. What's your overall goal with bringing people like together?
I can speak freely.
Go ahead.
Man, that's man, this is like Jimmy said I can speak freely.
Yeah,
okay, so it's no secret that people that look like me and Jimmy in this country, we historically disenfranchised. There's a number of different things that we've gone through. Our history has been taken from us. It's turn on the news at any given time. It's just like, it's no secret. I mean, you can just read a book, the last, 100 years, and you can just see it. It's like, it's no secret in this country. What I would like to do is actually bridge the gap between us that are actually in the diaspora, and so that we can all actually come together on one common ground and work on some healing. Because I feel like probably one of the worst things they could have possibly gave us is these different flags. I mean, I think the greatest tool that the enemy uses against us is a separation, on almost everything. If you are a spiritual person, I was ignorant to it. This was like, if we all believe in God, what's all these different denominations? Like, oh, okay, so I'm not gonna kick it with this person because they Lutheran, whatnot, they Methodist. Now I'm gonna kick it over here with the Baptists and whatnot. And it's just like, I feel like all these things that are used to separate us is creating so much division, and we really can't see no true progress because we're looking for ways to divide one another. And I think the powers that be are counting on that because they know how powerful we can be if we come together on one accord. But I want to start out with us because, as Malcolm X so eloquently put it, there can't be any black and white unity till there's black unity. And a lot of people, they'll look at that and it's like, that's extremist, that's racist, but it's just like, think about it, pay attention. It makes sense. There can't be any black and white unity until there's black unity. If black people are categorized as melanated people and there's division amongst us, how do you expect it to be unity with other people? We got to have unity within ourselves first.
Yeah.
Damn,
that's.
But I want to do that. That's why, like, if you follow me on Instagram or whatnot, my stuff is in Spanish. You know what I'm saying? El muñeco de chocolate, el vato de chocolate. It's on purpose because people, they look at that, they like, so wait a minute, is he Dominican? Is he Puerto Rican or whatnot? I keep him guessing. I'm the perfect shade of chocolate, but it's just like, you see that, and by default, like, we come together.
Yeah.
The only thing that separates us is, who colonized us, the language.
Damn, I can go so many different ways with this.
You can. You open up a can of worms.
Yeah, I sure did. So, damn, how do you think other people can do their part in bringing together the community, especially like the black community, like you were alluding to?
Man,
like, because I feel like right now, obviously it's gotten better, but it's still at a point where it's not good enough.
It's not good enough.
Not.
Yeah.
So in what ways that we can go about it to really improve in that area, like as people?
Man, like, love is the key. It is the key. Is the key. I cannot express it enough. It's just like, first off, you gotta love yourself because we've been conditioned to actually hate ourselves. So it's just like we had this animosity amongst each other. If you've been told your whole entire life that, your features are ugly, you know what I'm saying, you kind of are subconsciously programmed to think those things about yourself, although they're not true. But you gotta think to yourself, if you feeling that, it's not gonna be popular right here, but if you are You know where I'm about to go. You know where I'm
Say
about to
it.
go.
Say it.
So it's just
Yep.
like, if you are doing things that goes against what you naturally look like, who gave you that idea that you need to do that in order for you to feel like you're beautiful? Because you're beautiful just the way that you are, the way the
Yeah.
Creator made you.
Made you.
You know what I'm saying? So it's just like, if you don't feel like that, where did that idea come from?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Hey, I'm bald head shorty right now, you know, but it's just like all my stuff this natural. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? You got the locks and whatnot. But it really starts out with like love. We got to be able to see ourselves and other people. Always almost have like an omnipresence energy. Like if you talking to like a brother that's younger, look at them like your little brother. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like, see yourself in other people. If it's somebody your senior, look at them as a father or an uncle or whatnot. And it's just like, love them like you love yourself.
Yeah.
I mean, don't take no disrespect, but I mean, you got to see people we got to treat people the way that we want to be treated. I know as cliche as that sounds, like it all starts with that.
Yeah.
Because it can't be like, it's like situations that I see where people, it's almost like they gotta stick their chest out and they gotta be that tough guy. And it's just like, hey man, you ain't gotta do that, bro. I love you, you my brother. You ain't gotta be afraid of me. I'm not afraid of you.
Yeah.
Like that's where the healing starts.
So I think a lot of that aggression
Mm-hmm.
and feeling the need to compete comes from, it was something you said way back. It comes from black people just being what's the word, disenfranchised?
Disenfranchised,
Like as a whole. So we always had to fend for ourselves. We always had to defend ourselves in a way.
Right.
And I think that just trickled down as the years went along to the point where it's like, here we are now.
Yeah. I mean, if you think about it, like ghettos, slums, like here we are in, some say like the most richest country in the world. That's like ghettos, that's a glitch in the matrix. It's not supposed to happen. Like what's going on?
Yeah.
Like places like that, they shouldn't exist, where it's like food deserts, where you got to go get your grocery shopping done at a Dollar General. You know what I'm saying? Because it's like resources are not available. Like it's wild. Like the difference between a Keller versus a Stop Six.
Yeah.
Both of these places in Fort Worth, but they're worlds apart from one another. What's the difference? We know it. And, I don't think a lot of people are really ready to have that conversation. But it's just like, are the people in Stop Six, do you think they won't appreciate those access to those resources the way that people in Keller do? Or it's just like you're more invested in people that live in Keller because they make a certain income, they look a certain type of way. Like, it just doesn't make any sense for it to be somebody that had, like this is pretty new, but it just doesn't make no sense for somebody to spend $100,000 to go see the Titanic.
Yeah.
But it's just like, it's families out here that can't afford to go to the grocery store for, a month's worth of groceries.
Yeah.
It just, that don't make sense to me.
Just putting that perspective is just wild.
Yeah.
In the same country.
Same country.
Going back to what you said about the black community coming together starts with self-love.
It starts with self-love.
I really went through a lot of that as well. A lot of those trials and tribulations when it came to the self-love. I grew up not feeling good enough, not feeling worthy enough. Like I couldn't feel comfortable in my own skin because you hear people at school telling you like, "Oh,
but
Mark,
you this, you that,
and it's like, it's your people too."
Yeah, and it's like, it's worse when you can't do anything about that.
Yes,
it's different if you ask. I can put on lotion.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? If I don't smell good, I put some Axe
Yeah.
on. I can't do nothing about being dark. That's the way I'm made.
That's why I was made, and I went through a lot of stuff with that. And when it's your own people, it hurts even worse.
It does.
So it took a lot of like self-healing for me. And I'm really just now, these past 2 years, getting to the point where I'm like, okay, like I really, like some people say it, but like I really feel confident in myself and who I am and feel comfortable in my own skin. And
Right.
it feels great. And me not feeling that way back then fucked up a lot of stuff for me.
Right.
In terms of relationships and things like that.
Man,
Because
I feel that.
I didn't have that self-love, so it's like, how can
Yeah.
I give love to another person?
Because it's just like self-love and confidence, they connected to one another. If you don't love yourself, how can you be confident? And
Yeah.
it's just like, it might have been somebody else that seen you and what you had to offer, and they liked that, but it's just because you lack that confidence and that self-love,
Yeah.
you pretty much cut yourself out of the deal.
And it's like, for me, I'm so like self-aware about myself, and so I like to evaluate, like, okay, what went wrong in this situation? What went wrong here?
The play-by-play.
Yeah, the play-by-play. And like, I even had a girl tell me this, was like, damn, you're not as vulnerable as like you probably should be.
Okay.
And I was like, damn, okay, why am I not as vulnerable as I need to be?
Right.
Look back, and I'm like, okay, I still have residue of that trauma of not being good enough, of not feeling like I should be comfortable in my own skin.
Right.
I still had those little bits and pieces of me that felt that way. And I never really fully healed from that. So I was never really able to open up to certain people in certain ways.
Right.
Because I'd feel like they wouldn't even think I'm good enough anyway.
Yeah.
Or I'm not even good. They wouldn't even care anyway. Because that's how I grew up thinking. They wouldn't care. They don't care. They don't think I'm good enough. They don't think I'm this. They don't think I'm that. So I would like.
You started to believe that.
You believed it. And I lived it. But it took me so long to get out of that.
Yeah.
Even when I did get out of that, bits and pieces of my brain was like, yeah, you know, I still had that little boy in me, little Jimmy in me, that damn, like they wouldn't even care if you express how you felt. They won't care or something like that. And I really had to sit down with myself and be like, okay, how can I fix this? And it just started with me practicing being vulnerable, as uncomfortable as it can be.
Being vulnerable,
I had to practice that.
It's very uncomfortable.
I had to practice that, and I had to realize that it is going to be uncomfortable, not only for you, but for everyone involved. So that's like probably the next step for me, is just healing that.
Okay.
You know, and I think I've already done a really good job of it now. It's just like keep building on it. So it's a lot of stuff that I've realized about myself over these past couple of years. It's opened like another perspective of life for me. It's crazy. Like, it's crazy.
Vulnerability, though, it can be extremely powerful, and you value it whenever you're allowed to. Whenever you in a space to where you can be vulnerable.
Yeah.
That's, man, what? Aquafina type of relationship.
Yeah.
Man, you get something like that, you gotta hold on to it.
But then it's like, it's a double-edged sword.
Because right, it's that fear of like, okay, if I'm vulnerable with this person, it's you giving that person power.
Yeah.
And it's just like, do I trust this person enough to where I can let them know what my kryptonite is, trusting that they won't exploit it. It's vulnerability is courageous.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't talk about that, but it's just like you have to be courageous in order for you to be vulnerable.
I think it's one of the backbones of relationships is vulnerability, because you have to be able to open up a side of you that others can see.
Right.
You have to. And I mean, without that, there's no connection.
It's no connection. And it's just like, by you being vulnerable and you actually opening up that side for that person that is just not getting to know you to see, they can kind of understand what some of your triggers are, what hurts you, so they know not to inadvertently do the same thing.
Exactly. So it's really important to do that. But you are leaving the possibility that you get hurt.
Yeah.
And
well, it's tough.
And when
it's tough.
And when you do get hurt, okay, it's like, how do you respond now? Because you can just close yourself off to the world at that point. Like you said, you can't generalize everybody for something that happened with one person.
Right.
So it wouldn't even be fair to the next girl you come across, or if you're watching this a girl, if the next guy you come across, damn, I'm not going to be vulnerable with him because I already got hurt in the past.
Yeah.
What did this person have to do with the past?
Right.
It's not even fair to them. You already putting them on an unlevel playing field.
The man has to heal wounds that he did not create.
You have to. And I think that's one of the big bases of why a lot of shit doesn't work out nowadays, because hurt people hurt people.
Man.
You agree?
Absolutely, 100%. It's like we be creating monsters, and in fear of being hurt, sometimes we become monsters.
The healing process is super important, man, because I've been through it to where I don't give myself that time to heal, and I try to fill the void with someone else or something else.
Mm-hmm.
That's where you can go down a rabbit hole. Like, that's where addiction can come from. That's where you hurting someone else comes from.
Yeah.
And that just starts the whole cycle.
Yeah.
Keeps the whole cycle going.
Keeps the whole cycle going. But if you take the time, you heal from it, and then it's just like with healing, it comes hurt.
Yeah.
Just kind of like whenever you lose, I know that's drastic, but whenever you lose somebody, you know how you go through that grieving process? You have to grieve whatever type of relationship that you have with that person,
Yeah.
and heal from it completely so that you don't go back.
You go back to it.
Because a lot of time, it be these type of relationships to where like they know that other person is toxic to them and for them, but they keep on going back to that person.
Yeah, why
because
is that?
It's familiar. You know what I'm saying? This is the devil that I know. It's familiar. So instead of them giving themselves time to heal, to honestly heal, get back to loving themselves, and then explore the possibility of getting and connecting with somebody different, it's like, you know what? I know what that is over there. I know it ain't no good for me, but I know what it's gonna feel like. I'm gonna go over
rather
here.
go to something they're familiar with.
Yeah, like I'm gonna be super vulnerable. I'm not gonna say any names because I'm gonna protect the innocent. But man, like it was a situation where man, I love this girl's dirty draws, and the feeling was mutual, and it was just like I was Trey Songz.
I never heard that one before.
Man, I was a man. Hey, I love this girl dirty draws. I'm gonna admit it, and I was like Trey Songz. I can't help but wait. She was in like a bad situation, and I called myself just kind of waiting on the sidelines.
Yeah.
I date here and there, but it was just like I feel like once that situation played itself out, this is gonna be the person that I spend the rest of my life with. You know what I'm saying? So it was just like we wouldn't talk for obvious reasons, and then we'd pick up where we left off from.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it'd get close, we'll build back up, and then, you know, she'll go back to that situation, then, you know, and it was a whole bunch of back and forth. It was almost like the universe was kind of trying to help me to kind of understand, like, hey, we're trying to show you something, but it's just like you're not learning, and we keep on bringing it back to you, hoping that you'll grasp a lesson, but you keep on allowing yourself to get hurt.
Love is blind.
Right, love is blind, and man, we had a mutual friend, and I was talking about this person, and that mutual friend was super cool. He was just like, hey man, you know what? You probably want to start looking elsewhere. And when I say like, bro, that was
fell
like
to my knees.
Bro, when I came down, ooh, boy. When I say I was hurting, cause it felt like it was like I wasn't even with this person, but I felt like I had been rejected.
Yeah,
I felt like I wasn't good enough. I felt like, damn, you know what? I sit up here and I waited. I couldn't get mad. I was happy because that person wasn't in that messed up situation, but at the same time I felt rejected because, you know, why not me?
Yeah.
You know, I showed you who I am. And it's just like, I showed you who I am. I was vulnerable with you, and it still happened. So it was just like, I took a social media fast. I took a little hiatus.
Yeah, I was gonna say, how did you react to that when it all was all said and done?
Oh, boy, that was it. Like, hey, I said, man, I don't want to say nothing. I'm gonna stay to myself. I'm gonna take the time to heal because, like I said, I feel like I was really like the universe was trying to show me something. It was presenting me the same test over and over and over again because life is a teacher. You're going to get taught. So it's just like I learned that lesson, but I had to actually like cut everything off, all the distractions, take that time, heal, work on myself, feel that pain, feel that hurt, so I can completely get healed from it. So whenever this person they come up or I talk about them, it's like I'm healed from it. Like, hey, you know, ain't no bitter,
like
no bitter feelings, no resentments. I'm good. I'm cool. I'm not all up on you like that no more. You know, if it would have called me in between time, I'd be like, oh, I would have been right back.
Yeah.
But I had to actually take that time out to myself and isolate myself so that I could heal.
But that's great, and that's how it should be.
Mm-hmm.
Damn, this just goes back to self-love.
Yeah.
Because if you're not willing to sit down with yourself and really process and take it in, and it's like, because the reason why you're not willing to do that, you don't love yourself as much as you should.
Yeah.
To be able to sit with yourself and really have that, pretty much in a way, having a conversation with yourself.
Mm-hmm.
You know, people don't have that self love. But on to this next topic here. What were your inspirations growing up? And even who are your inspirations? Some of your inspirations now,
Okay.
like just in life in general.
Man, like I'm inspired, Jimmy. I'm inspired by so many different people. Golly, like like coming up, like Frederick Douglass, reading about his story. You know, I was young. Master P, as crazy as it is, like Percy Miller, because for me at that time, like coming up, the original, like, you know, it's common now, like a mogul, but it was just like I seen it firsthand, like this cat, because my family, they from the South, so like this cat selling like tapes and CDs out of his trunk to, you know, eventually having his own brand, you know, getting that crazy deal. Like, it's one thing for him to make a documentary and people to talk about it right now, but it's like to like be back there and live it and be like in real time and seeing the pole behind you. Man, back in the day, man, Master P, he was like a legend. Like, but you were seeing it was just like, what can he not do? It was almost like he was like the New Orleans Drake. Yeah. No, you know what? I take that back. He was like J. Cole in a sense because he was multi-talented. You know what I'm saying? He rapped, he produced, let me see, he did movies. He had a clothing line, you know what I'm saying? Tried out for basketball or whatnot. He made the league. It was just like anything that this man wanted to do, it was almost like he was unstoppable. Like, so that was somebody that I really looked up to.
Okay. Who do you look up to now?
Man, I look up to you.
Nah, stop.
Nah. Like no cap, bro. Like, it was like, I don't know, Jimmy. You always had this energy and this aura about you. So it was just like, whenever you was telling me things like what you just shared with me earlier, how like you didn't feel confident, you know what I'm saying? You struggled with that. It was hard for me to believe that because, bro, you've always been like well poised. And I even talked to some of your peers that are mutual friends of ours, and they tell me, it's like, bro, I really want to be like Jimmy. You know, Jimmy, like he can pose, you know?
Yeah.
But nah, man, like I definitely look up to you, and I appreciate all, you know, that you do and what you've done. And man, you've opened up the doors for a lot of people. And what I like about you is like where you at right now, it's just like you go out your way to create opportunities for other people. People that, because there's some amazing people out here that just not enough people they know. And you create that platform for them.
Yeah. It's
just like, I almost feel like if I didn't know any better, like acts of service, it's got to be your love language. You do for other people.
Yeah. It definitely is a part of that. Yeah. Man, a big reason why I do this podcast, this whole self-improvement thing, is to service other people. Mm-hmm. It's not for me.
Right.
It's not for me to showcase myself. It ain't
never about you. Yeah.
It's never about me. Like, you know, I always don't really, I mean, I'm confident in myself now, but I'm not gonna just think super highly of myself, like, oh, I'm up here and no. I'll never think that. So, like, me going through my self-improvement journey, because I've been through a big change in my life, like, and I'm still growing, and it's always gonna be like that. But from the changes I've made, even just from high school to now, unrecognizable, I would say. And I don't know what it was. Well, I know what it was. It was really with me going through a bad time.
Okay.
For me to realize, like, damn, what am I on this earth to do? What am I here for?
Purpose.
What's my purpose?
Yeah.
Because it got to the point, man, like I graduated high school and I'm just like, I was just caught up in so much. You're going through all these things, relationship stuff. You're transitioning from high school to college, from being a child to being in the real world,
right,
so to speak. Me not really knowing who I was as a person. All those things in combination happened all at the same time. And I never really had time for myself to sit down and be like, damn, like, what am I here to do? What am I here for? What's my purpose on earth? And it took a lot of like really, really sad nights, really bad nights for me to really get to that conclusion.
Okay.
But I figured, I don't know what it was. Damn, your purpose is to go be great and to help others be great as well. So with my journey, I want to obviously self-improve myself to the point where I can lead by example. Be an example for other people. Be an example for someone who was like me back then, that didn't have that relatable personality to get inspiration from. Because I didn't really have that. Obviously, you have sports figures and these people and that people. But obviously, you have your parents who give you advice and everything. But it's like, in a way, you can't relate to them.
Right.
Because, you're so much younger. You don't have those type of people that you can really relate to, really pick their brain from. I didn't have that, really.
Mm-hmm.
And me doing the stuff that I'm doing now allows for me to help out other younger people, to inspire them, to help them out, to, give them a lane to really go into.
Okay.
And really flourish and let them know that it's possible.
It is possible.
Like, you know what I mean? I haven't done really much anything yet, but
bro, you still going. Bro, you are inspiring. It's happening. It's unfolding. We're on the precipice of it right now.
Exactly. So I want to give others a lane to let them know that it's possible to really get out of whatever they're in, their bad situation, or they had an unfortunate upbringing, or whatever the case may be. I want to let them know that it's okay. And as long as you're willing to stay true to yourself, put in the work and stay consistent, stay focused, like, as cliche as it sounds, you can do anything.
Nah, it's true. The only limitations exist in your own mind.
Yeah.
Jimmy, do you know who Jay Shetty is, or have you ever heard of him?
He has a self-improvement podcast.
He does, like, man. Like, what you just said, it actually made me think about something that he said. He had somebody on his show, and they were talking about alcoholism. Mm-hmm. And the brother that he had on his show, he was actually talking about, like, the steps for AA.
Yeah.
And what you said, you say you didn't have anybody to aspire to, or whatever. You had, like, athletes and things like that, but nobody that could really relate to where you were at that particular time. What he said was, you are the most qualified to help the person that you used to be.
Damn. Okay.
Right. Like, it's so profound. He was talking about alcoholism, but it was almost like you can apply that to so many different areas of your life, because it's just like, if you was in the trenches and you came out of the trenches, when you see somebody else in the trenches, that's you. You used to be that person.
You, yeah.
So it's just like, you're the most qualified to help the person that you used to be.
Exactly.
You know exactly what they're going through.
Yeah. And and that's exactly what I'm trying to do. Like, I never really had the mindset that, oh, it's just me. Like, I never had that self-centered mindset. Like, anyways. And, like, another thing was I always helped people, like, when I was younger. Always, like, the helper. Always acts of service, like you mentioned. Always being there for people. And I was like, damn, man, I gotta put this to use, because it can get me a long way.
It's crazy how your gift will make room for you. Like, you was trying to find out your purpose, but you had already been really fulfilling your purpose.
That's all of us, though. We all have, like, our purpose. And I'm about to ask you what do you think yours is specifically in a minute. But, all of us have a purpose. It's just a matter of finding it. You can find it in so many different ways. Right. But mine was pretty much a gift to me. Like, I had to go through that tough time that I did go through in order to find that. So it just kind of depends on how your life goes. But what do you think your overall purpose is here in life, man?
Man, it's definitely to help as many people as I possibly can. As cliche as it sounds, it's just like, whenever I leave this earth, I want to leave it better than what I came into it with. Yeah. It's just like, a lot of these problems that we have, that I inherited, that I came in with, even if it's just me inspiring the mind that's going to create the change necessary in order for us to, deal with some of the systemic, issues that we have or whatnot, that's good enough for me. Reach one, teach one. Like, I really do want to, like, lead this world better than what I came into it with. Yeah. Like, I don't want my grandkids to be going through the same stuff that I dealt with growing up. Like, this ignorance, man, it has to stop somewhere. It has to stop.
Do you think that was always your purpose? Or do you think, because I feel like it can change, like, over time.
It can change, and I feel like, you know how some people, they say, like, stay in your lane? Yeah. And it's not necessarily a disrespectful thing, but it can be taken as disrespectful. I feel like everybody has purpose, and sometimes you can look at what somebody else is doing and think, man, I want to do that. But that's not for you. That's for them. Yeah. That's their lane. You know what I'm saying? You was assigned a lane, and you going to stay on your lane, stay on your path, stay the course. So for me, that's going to be tied to fitness. I know for a fact, without a shadow of a doubt, man, that is my purpose. I have so many crazy stories of people that I've run across. And the thing about it is, it's like, I wasn't doing or being anybody different than who I was, but it was just like my gift, it made room for me. You know, had I not been doing my purpose, on my purpose or whatever, the opportunity, they wouldn't present themselves like, shoot, where we meet at?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. It's crazy,
Yeah.
But it's real. It's real. So that ties into the next topic. Touch on your spiritual journey, man, because
Okay. Oh, yes, I love that.
I first want to know where you kind of started with that. How did that originate, and how did we get to this point now, and what are the, like, your biggest teachers, your biggest takeaways from the journey that you're on now and continuing to be on?
Okay. So first off, I want to say this, like, I am not a religious person, but I grew up in the church. You know, my mom made it a point to bring me and my siblings, church on Sundays or whatnot.
Yeah.
And my level of understanding, it wasn't where it is right now because I'm young. I'm hearing these stories, I'm remembering these stories, and that's what's sticking out to me. But for me, when I got older, like I made it a point to really kind of understand church and the Bible, because it was just like, my mom is incredible. I promise. I mean, everybody should feel like this, but man, when I say I got like the best mom in the world, like, yo, love my mom, like, to this day, like, have my boy say, to this day, like, man, mom's holding it down, you know? So for somebody that great to want that to be a part of my life, like, okay, I need to figure out who God is, why the importance on him, like, why did my mom take time out to make sure that me and my siblings, like, went to church or whatnot. And so I studied on my own. Mm-hmm. But it wasn't till I became a father that I really kind of understood the significance of everything, because, like, man, March 23rd, 2006, my son was born. I was 19 years old. This is my senior year of high school. And I'm looking down. This baby's coming in the room and crying, hollering or whatnot. And the first time they placed him in my arms, I'm looking down and he just stopped crying. I see my nose. I'm looking down at him and whatnot. And it was just like, at the moment, like, man, I was like, man, that's me right there. Yeah. I loved in my life, but I don't think I love anything as much as I love looking at my son. That was me or whatnot. And then it's like, for me becoming a father, it really kind of helped me to be able to have a relationship with the Creator, because I looked at it from an aspect of a father. So it's just like, for him to give up his only begotten son, the level of love, the capacity of love that he had, because I don't think I loved anybody to where I can give up my son. So the fact that he did that for me to be able to have life, I say, you know what? I want to embody that type of love, And, on that tip, I was limited to what I understood, because that's just what I had been exposed to my whole entire life. So by default, culturally, that's what I was exposed to.
Okay.
But then once I started, going to college, meeting different people from different type of cultures, like, I had a buddy named Adnan. We affectionately call him Eddie. Crazy thing about Eddie is he was a first-generation immigrant from Palestine. And the person that taught him English, he was from Jersey. He had like an East Coast accent.
Yeah.
So you had this brother that was from Palestine, but it's like, you hear him talk, you thinking he one of these cats from Jersey. He had dark hair, blue eyes or whatnot. He was swole or whatnot. But he really kind of put me on game about, Islam. And because that's how my brain works. I look for things and people, how they're connected and whatnot. So then all of a sudden I start to find myself getting the Quran actually translated to English.
Okay.
And it's one of the Abrahamic religions. So I'm looking and I'm reading it, and I'm seeing all these similarities between these two books, and I can't understand for the life of me why so much animosity and wars from religion. And I'm like, man, this don't make no sense. Like, what's going on? Like, why are they fighting like that? It's almost like everybody's fighting about who wants to be right. But I look at the situation from like I said, this is just me thinking outside the box. But I'm looking at it from like, okay, you know what? if I'm the creator and I put this doctrine on the earth in order for people to kind of understand like what love is, I don't want y'all to fight over who's right. Everybody has a different path, whether it be Buddhism, Hinduism, Islam, Christianity, whatever ism that it is. But it's just like the point is for you to be able to reach that consciousness and an awareness to where it's just like pure love, to where like you're not divided, like we're connected. So for me, I say I'm a spiritual person because I pull from all those different things.
Yeah.
It's like I don't judge. I know a lot of people, they feel like, well, nah, you know what? We can't all just coexist like that. I'm like, why not?
Why not?
It's not bothering me. What you eat don't make me shit, and who you fucking don't make me come. Like, just, I know this,
that's crazy.
That's Jermaine Lamar,
Yeah.
like that's cold right there. But he dropped some truth right there. It's like that doesn't affect me, as long as you ain't doing wrong in front of me, like it's cool.
Whatever.
You do you.
Yeah. Damn, that's where it really like originated from.
That's where it originated from. It's just like me understanding and not allowing myself to be closed off and so narrow-minded to where I'm not going to allow myself to connect to another person because I've been told that you shouldn't associate with these people. Why?
Why not?
Why not?
Mm-hmm.
Damn. Especially at that political climate, September 11 had happened, Muslims had been in America forever, but all of a sudden they became ostracized. Whenever me and Adnan, we did talk, we were actually able to have like a trauma bond. So to say he found out firsthand what it felt like to be a minority, because before, because he lighter complected, he can pass or whatnot, but it's just like, if you're proud of where you come from and your religion, you're not going to renounce it for anybody. So it's just like you got a target on your back. And that's kind of how it is for us. It's just like, no matter what we do, we going to stick out.
Regardless. Yeah. Damn, that I never really thought about it like that. It's so divisive. Like religion and all that stuff is so divisive. And
it is like religion, like it's a political and social construct that's used to separate us. Like religion didn't come from God. Like if you think about it, like Jesus, like Yahshua, he wasn't he would be the type of person that would call out a lot of the things that are going on in religion and with the government or whatnot. He was like a spiritual rebel, the people that he associated with, like the tax collectors, the prostitutes, the thieves, whenever they hung him up on the cross, he was sitting next to a thief. That was his last thing that he did before he got up out of there. But those are the people that he associated with because he said something. He said, hey, man, I got to go amongst the afflicted. And it's just like, that's also probably one of my biggest heroes. So it's the way that he was whenever he was on here, man, this dude was the greatest lyricist ever.
Yeah.
Would drop some knowledge on you, and it's just like you can apply it to your life and be better. I don't care who you are.
Dang. So what are your I'll go this route.
Okay.
So obviously, of course you're vegan. So how did you start that journey?
Okay, so I felt like I've always been like a empathetic person, but I got to that point where I became, so compassionate. I just was looking at some of the things that I was eating and I couldn't do it anymore because I started to kind of see a certain type of way. Like I know that
your perspective just changed.
It changed, and then it was just like it was a whole bunch of pushback from the people that was in my life at the time. They like, bro, what do you mean? Like we always ate like this or whatever. I said, nah, man, it's just like I can't do it. Like, man, I feel like, because as far as like spirituality, whatever, I was really getting in tune with like the source or whatnot. And it says like, thou shalt not kill. And I thought to myself, I said, man, you know what? Like, I'm aware, I'm conscious. I've owned cats, I've owned dogs, fish, lizards, literally every type of pet that you could possibly think of outside a lion, some exotic animals or whatnot. But it's just like I interacted with them. They feel like they hurt, they love, they're affectionate or whatnot. It's like they want to be here just as much as you and I want to be here. And it's like I thought to myself, who am I? Who are we for that matter? To say your life equates to nothing but something that's going to be on my plate. And I looked at it like that, Jimmy, and it was just like I couldn't look back.
Yeah.
It's just like I can't look at a piece of bacon like bacon. It's like, nah, bro, that's porky.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That's Peppa Pig right there.
Damn. So, how long have you been vegan?
Man, it's going on 6.5 years.
6.5 years.
And really, I would say instead of vegan, I would say like plant-based. I'm like an omelet away from being a vegan.
Okay.
Yeah.
You still have an omelet.
You still have an omelet, you know, here
Ain't
and
nothing
there.
wrong with that.
Yeah. Just like, man, if it got a face, I ain't gonna eat it.
Yeah. So obviously, you being plant based did not have any effect on your swollenness,
Right.
right? I feel like there is a misconception out there that if you go plant based, vegan, you can lose out on gains. You can lose out on things in the gym.
Right.
You know, your fitness journey. Because isn't it tough to be plant based and like
after a
be on the
while,
journey? Like probably at first, right?
yeah, at first, when you first get started, because it's like you've been programmed and conditioned to think and eat a certain type of way, and you spent the better part of your life eating like this. So once you introduce something new,
Yeah.
it's going to be a bit confusing.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's going to be a little bit challenging. But after a while, you kind of get things down. It's just like, okay, this ain't as hard as what I thought it was going to be.
Yeah.
And now in this day and age, it's a whole lot more convenient because some of our favorite foods that we enjoy as kids, they got plant-based versions of it. You know, you got Slutty Vegan in Dallas, you know, big shout out to them. You got Mariachis in Fort Worth. You got Spiral Diner. You got all these places that are actually catered to plant-based eating. So now you got options because the movement has grown.
Talk about like how it didn't have an effect on your fitness journey at all. Because I feel like that there is that misconception out there.
It definitely is that misconception. That's why I mean, I'm not gonna lie. I take a little pleasure whenever I tell people I don't eat meat, and they just have these big bug eyes. They looking at me like, "Bro, what? What do you mean? Where you get your protein at, bro?"
Yeah.
I say, "Man, look here. There's plenty of protein in these plants, man. Y'all just don't know. I can get the protein, you know, and not have the information to go with it."
Damn, really?
Yeah. Cause
that's what I heard. Like a lot of inflammation.
Yeah, because you know, culturally, you know what I'm saying, we poke fun at it, it's the itis, but it's just like, you know, your intestines, they're being inflamed, so you want to go to sleep. You know, your body really wasn't designed to take in on all that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like food is supposed to be an energy source. When you eat it, you're supposed to have energy.
Not be drained.
Not to be drained, you know.
Because I feel like, when we eat, you know, after you eat a big meal, you're just like,
just unbutton your pants.
Yeah.
Go to sleep.
Yeah. But like, it shouldn't be like that.
It shouldn't be like that. Yeah.
That's not how food was meant to be.
Right. It's like, I think a lot of people have an unhealthy relationship with food. People will eat to get full, which is nothing wrong with that. But you know what I'm talking about? Like, they'll eat like, I'm about to throw down.
Yeah.
You know, and just really sit up there and eat till they can't eat no more.
People eat out of boredom nowadays.
They do. I'm guilty. I'm not gonna lie.
I'm guilty too. Shit. You wouldn't believe it, but I am.
Yeah. But it's just like, we make up for it in the gym.
You make up, yeah. Genetics, man.
Yeah, hey, gotta love it. If you think about it, you know, this is a different type of perspective, but it's like you become numb to it. You really become desensitized to it. And it's just like how they say you are what you eat. Man, it's just like the way that they go about slaughtering like these sentient beings, these creatures or whatnot, like the amount of stress. Because, I mean, imagine like, you know, Jimmy, in the alternative reality, you know, we pigs, you know, we hooked upside down with our feet, you know. Man, they just cut Slough's throat. Man, they go, Mike, they cut his throat. Oh, my God, Patrick, he next. I'm next. You seeing what's going on to these people that you done grew up with your friends. So all that fear, anxiety, that cortisol, like all that's actually going into you spiritually. Yes. And whenever you eat that, you feel it. It shouldn't be no surprise I'll be going through all of these things that we're going through right now. It's in what we're eating.
And you know what it is now too? It's them shooting up these chickens.
Man, what?
I don't know. You might have seen it, but they just passed something that allowed for them to make pretty much unauthentic food now.
Yeah, in America. We're a mass producing food. It's a
business.
It is a business, and the crazy thing is, it's a business actually associated with health. You wouldn't think that these two things go together.
Wow, man.
You wouldn't think that these two things go together, but it's just like one hand and watches the other. You know what I'm saying? So like, if you're a medical professional, you make money off of your patients being sick.
So you know what's crazy? I'm gonna let you continue that, but I always thought about those two things exclusively.
Yeah.
Never really together, but it makes sense. It goes hand in hand. Go ahead.
Yeah, but it's like those two entities, they cross paths.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So it's just like the Heart Health Association. If you look at the recommended diet, it's exactly what you would have hypertension from. You know, they're linked with each other. You know what I'm saying? It's terrible because it's like it's all for the dollar. It's all for the money. What can I do? What can I say? What type of information can I put out here to the masses to where they'll buy into it so I can make more money?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So it's just like the money is in the medicine, not in the cure. They count on us being sick. You know what I'm saying? It's $1 trillion industry.
Because if no one was sick, who would?
Right. If you had all these healthy people, you know what I'm saying, eating right, you know, exercising, living right or whatever, living to centenarians like how we're supposed to be, because we like advancing medically.
Yeah.
The world would look a whole lot different. They wouldn't be able to do what they do in our faces the way that they are. Yeah.
Why do you think not as many people have been put on game about that type of stuff yet? Because I mean, it's out there, and talking about it now, it's pretty obvious.
Right.
So, like, why do you think people are oblivious to it?
So, you know, as we say, like, ignorance, it is bliss. And everything is frequencies.
Okay.
So it's just like, once you connect to a certain frequency, you can't help but to be exposed to other opportunities or information associated with that frequency. So for, let's say it might start off, I don't know, give me something random that somebody might have about eating.
Like
just give me some type of ailment. What do you see? What do you see advertised a lot?
Oh, inflammation.
Inflammation. Well, you know what? I give you a better one. This is a hot topic. ED, erectile dysfunction. You might be somebody that might be suffering from erectile dysfunction, and that's important to you because you want to be able to satisfy your significant other, and they profit off of your insecurities. So they're exposing you to things that are going to make you feel better.
Yeah.
They're going to treat the symptom, but they're not actually going to treat what's going on. You know what I'm saying? So like, you might be a person where you realize what's going on. It's just like, well, man, you know what? I've been taking this, and it works as long as I'm taking it, but I want to be to the point where I don't have to take this no more. So they connected to that frequency because they want to take care of ED. So that might take them to learning about holistic healing. And then they come to find out what they're eating is actually in direct correlation to why they can't maintain an erection. So then they stop eating what they're eating. And then it's like they get exposed to that, but because they're on that frequency, now all of a sudden they're getting exposed to like the benefits of having a plant-based diet. And then they get exposed to, okay, like how the food industry is tied into the medical industry or whatnot. It's just like pretty soon, it's sometimes something really bad has to happen in order for it to be like a wake-up call. Like somebody has to hit 300 pounds before they realize that it's a problem. You know what I'm saying? Like at what point in time, I'm glad that you found it out, but at one point in time did you feel like, you know, this was, what was the straw that broke the camel's back? You know what I'm saying? How did you let yourself get to that point? But sometimes something very drastic has to happen like that in order for it to wake people up.
Yeah. Damn. What foods do cause that?
Erectile dysfunction?
So I can stay away from it.
Hey, man, I wouldn't know.
I mean, yeah.
Eat your sea mouse.
Sea mouse. John, you have any questions for me, man?
Man, like,
I've asked you a lot of stuff.
I do got one thing, man. So, like, you know, whenever we was out, we was eating one day, you know, we kind of touched on, like, love languages.
Yeah.
And we also touched on, like, this animosity between like men and women, like this divide. What you want to touch on first? I mean, first off, like, why do you feel like there's such a disconnect between men and women? And we'll go at it from a different angle. Because I just said men and women, why you think there's a disconnect between our men and our women?
That's your question.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. There's a lot, man.
All I got is theories.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, you can go so many different ways with this.
Yeah.
Like we mentioned earlier, self-love
Yeah.
plays a part in it. It's sad because I see a lot of things now. I see, like, I go on Instagram and I follow these pages.
Okay.
You might have heard of spiritual word.
I think I have.
Spiritual
Yeah.
world. Shade Room, all these pages.
Definitely
right?
Shade Room, man. You can't throw a rock without hitting one of them posts.
Yeah. And they'll make posts about relationship stuff. And, you know, it's a lot of melanated people on these types of accounts. And they say, like, a whole bunch of toxic stuff or
Right.
a bunch of stuff that isn't really conducive to a healthy relationship.
Right.
And a good amount of it's jokes and memes and stuff. You can
Right.
kind of tell. But a lot of the stuff that people think and say, like, are taken, like, to heart like that. Like, you know, here's one thing.
Okay.
The influence of social media.
Okay. Yeah.
So that's one thing for sure in general. Because someone can hop on a podcast or hop on Instagram, anything, and tell you what you should be doing in your relationship.
Mm-hmm.
And you take that, and like you said earlier, it's not taking the advice, is like taking, like, the advice that works for you.
Right. You got to evaluate that advice.
You got to evaluate it. And not enough of us do that.
Mm-hmm.
I think that plays a really big part in relationships and perspective.
Man, look here. Just in general, when I say I want to bring us together, I really want that to happen because I'm so tired because I'm not like that. I love women. I appreciate women. I got daughters. I got a mom. And it's just like whenever I be hearing that and I be seeing it, to me, my thing is I realize as a man, I have privilege.
Mm-hmm.
My privilege, it stops at being a man. But as a man, I do have privilege. It's certain things that I'm awarded and I'm allowed to do that women, they don't have. So I feel like for me, the best thing that I could do is use that privilege as leverage to actually help bring a sister up.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Open up doors for them that no one be closed because of their gender. So I'm like, as far as like equality, I feel like that's what it needs to be. It needs to be. It don't need to be this division. It needs to be cohesiveness and it needs to be cooperation. We don't need to be competing with one another.
I think the higher ups started that.
Right.
The division and everything, and it never got healed ever since. One thing I will throw out there is how it was back then with, I mean, it's unfortunately still like that today, but you'll see a lot of broken families, broken households.
Yeah.
I mean, that's where it stems from.
That's, yeah.
And you want to, you can say anything you want. I think that's where all of it stems from.
Right, because if you want to disrupt a people, the easiest and most effective way to do it is destroy the families.
That's it. And it'll destroy so many different parts of their life.
Right.
On the relationship aspect of it, you grow up as a kid seeing dysfunction, seeing arguments, seeing fights 24/7.
Right.
Not saying every relationship and marriage should be perfect,
right.
but there's certain things a kid shouldn't see growing up.
Right.
And have to be numb to and used to.
Because if you get used to that, you'll actually practice that.
Exactly, because that's all you know.
Right.
And you can't even blame that person at that point, because it's like, that's all they know. That's all they know.
That's what they seen.
That's what they seen. So they take that as, oh, this is how you love. This is how you treat your partner, treat your spouse. And with a lot of the cases, both parents not being in the household, with most of the time the father not being in the household.
You're preaching right now.
If you're a boy, there's only so much your mom can teach you.
Right.
She can be the greatest mother like ever. There's just certain things she can't teach you.
Right.
That you needed your father there for, and he wasn't there.
And I feel like on that same aspect, if you're a little girl, and the father's not in the household, you know what I'm saying? I think every woman is a little girl at heart. You know, you're yearning for the love of your father or the lack thereof.
Exactly.
So you find yourself in situations to where Man, this is tough. I'm talking about daddy issues right
Go
now.
ahead.
Because you find yourself connecting with men with your body because that's how you feel validated, because you didn't get that validation from your father. So you look for it, you look at it, you look from it, you look for it in other men, and it's really perverse.
Yeah.
And it's just like you do that, and it's like a lot of girl women that go through that, it's just like they get a bad name, they get a bad rap, because it's just like they looking for something they didn't have.
That connection.
And it's like
from a male.
Right.
Damn.
And it's just like, imagine what that might look like if you were the mom raising your daughter and you're hearing that about your, whatever you're hearing about the father or whatnot, that's kind of subconscious. That's like subconscious being programmed in your mind. So like, if you do happen to meet a good man, you might not even necessarily know how to treat him.
Yeah.
Because you don't know what that looks like.
You know what it look like.
Yeah.
And I feel like also with the father not being at home, if it's a girl, that mother is probably saying all these things that are coming off as bitter towards the father.
And rightfully so, though. You know what I'm saying? Rightfully
depending
so.
on what happened.
Depending on what happened, yeah.
Depending on what happened, but she's going to pick that up going up, and then she's going to feel a certain type of way to move a certain type of way in life.
Right.
It's just like,
but
damn.
Just going back to what we said, man, it's just like if you want to destroy people,
break the household.
Break the household.
Yeah. Sheesh. Yeah, so.
Something else I think about is just like statistically, if a father's not in the household and it's statistically, if father's not in the household, like the family is like, I ain't gonna say it's doomed because it has been some success stories, but statistically, like a lot of things are more likely to happen because not only is a father a provider, but he's also a protector. So if you have somebody, can you imagine that somebody trying to come to your house and say, "Hey, I'm here to take your daughter out." What are you gonna do? Right? It ain't like you gonna have a sawed off shotgun and tell him you gonna put his balls in the jar, but it's just like the fact that it's protection is there.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That's gonna make that person think twice. I know I can't come to her any type of way because she's protected. Versus there is nobody that's protecting. It's free game.
Yeah.
You know how much easier it is to talk to a young lady that ain't got a father in the household? You a charmer. Just like you charm the daughter, you can charm the mom. That protection is not there. Because it's like, if you a father and you got a daughter, you knew how you were whenever you were younger. So you know what that person's MO might be. So you will be able to strategically eliminate this person. You'll be able to see what your daughter can't see. You'll be able to see what your wife can't see.
Exactly.
You'll be able to weed it out. And if you are a young man and you find yourself in that situation, if you're a real one, that character's going to stand out. You're going to be okay. But if you're not, you ain't going to make it. You ain't going to make it.
Yeah.
You know, you failed the first line of defense. Oh, get up out of there.
Damn. You know, the sad thing about it is, I think it's a tough cycle to break.
It is.
It really is.
And then to be aware.
Yeah, that's the next step. I think a lot of people can and should make. It's just being self-aware of. Okay, like let's say the kid grows up,
right,
and they go through a breakup, they go through a couple relationships, and they're trying to figure out, damn, why is this happening?
Right.
They got to be able to look back and like, damn, like, I didn't have both parents there. I act like this because this is what I knew growing up.
Right.
So I thought this is what it was. In reality, it wasn't. You got to figure out how to kind of change that.
Yeah, you got to relearn some things. Yeah, be open to it.
It's tough, but, I mean.
It's necessary.
Yeah. You have to. So, what were your other theories?
Man, I feel like really like the competition thing. It's just like we're not supposed to be in competition with each other. We're supposed to be helping each other. Like me per se, whenever I'm in a relationship, whether it be romantic or whether it be work, it's just like I feel like if I got it, you got it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? These ain't just my resources. These are our resources. I much rather you let me know what you need versus you trying to be manipulative and get something out of me, because I just give it to you.
Yeah.
If you want it, just be open, you know? It's no need for us to compete with one another, especially if we're in a relationship with each other. You shine, I shine, we shine together. I water your seed, you water my seed, we grow together.
In a lot of relationships nowadays, it's like they get what they can from the good person,
Right.
and they go back to the person they know is not good for them.
Yeah.
They just know they're not good for them. I never really understood why that was. They'll go back to the person that's not good for them, and they know that's not good for them. Well,
yeah, man.
When
it's
they have a
weird.
good person like in front of them right there.
Okay.
I never really understood that.
I've heard people talk about it. You know what I'm saying? There's just like, it was his brother. He was talking about. He said he was talking about whenever he was in his younger 20s. He was out and about. He was doing his things and whatnot. But he said, approaching his 30s, he appreciates boring, staying in the house, being out the way or whatnot. But I don't know what it is about like danger, toxicity. I don't know if it's because
toxicity is glorified nowadays.
I think that's what it is. And if it's glorified, it's just like there's some type of attraction about it. It's like whatever is like taboo or, whatever is glorified or whatever, you find yourself gravitating towards that. It's a weird thing.
And that, that's what I never understood, because I've been in situations to where it's like, oh, if you're not toxic, then what are you good for?
Right?
It's like
what? What do you ask about?
It's so backwards, man.
And the same person the same person with that same breath that said shit like that come back a month later, hurt, broke, disgusted. Man, dudes ain't shit. Make it make sense. That's who you wanted.
That's who you wanted.
That's
make
who
it
you
make
wanted.
sense, man. Man, and then they develop a certain type of personality about them, and
they become jaded.
Yeah, they hurt the next dude, and then that dude that got hurt, it's gonna hurt the next female.
Hurt people,
and then the next female is gonna.
So, message: stop hurting, start healing. If you hurting, heal. Don't hurt the next person. Like, if you didn't like the way that it made you feel, what makes you think that it's gonna pass on well to the next person?
Yeah.
Like, my biggest motivator for not doing no fuck shit, other than like this, just the type of person that I am, is just like, I know how it feels to be on both sides, and it's just like the pain associated with hurting somebody. I don't want to be responsible for that, because I feel like I'm hurting myself.
In a way,
yeah. It's like, man, like, I did that. There was no reason for me to do that.
Yeah.
If you in a relationship and it's getting to that point where you feel like you got to do that, you're not ready to be in a relationship. Temptation is going to be there. If you feel like all of what you put into your relationship, you ready to risk it, do that person another favor, just break up with them.
Yeah. Guys, heal. Yeah. That's what I got to say, man. Yeah. But what other questions you got for me, man?
Man, Jimmy, I don't think I got nothing for you, man. We talked about it a lot.
We sure did, yeah.
Oh, no. Your love languages. What are your love languages? And tell me, like, why? Why are your love languages?
Love language. Acts of service, like we mentioned.
Okay.
Physical touch and quality time.
Okay.
For sure. I don't know who I talked to, but they said there's more than like 5 or whatever the amount is.
Man, I know about the 4. No. There are 5 languages.
Yeah.
But
you know what's crazy? I talked to someone and they said, or I might have heard it somewhere. They were like, yeah, there's actually way more than like 5, and I wasn't aware.
I think sharing music is probably one of those.
That's one of mine.
Yeah, that's one of mine too. Like, it's like sometimes like a song can articulate the way that you feel a whole lot better than what you can.
Yeah. And another thing for me is just being able to show a different side, like being able to be goofy and funny with each other without anyone taking anything to heart or anything like that. Like that's one of my things too. Like I want to be able to make fun of you and like it all be good.
It's all good.
It's all good.
That's how I show love.
Yeah, that's how I show love, and that's one of my things too. And I think those are my love languages, just because I'm so big on just connectivity now.
Okay.
Because I wasn't as connected to people as I am now.
Okay.
But knowing that connectivity opens so many doors for you, it's like you have to
Just embrace it.
You have to just embrace it. You have to.
When you get somebody that actually understands your love language and is reciprocated, man, it's a beautiful thing.
Beautiful thing. Yeah. Closing this thing out, man. Two last questions.
Okay.
What would you tell younger John?
Man,
You can be like 5 years, 10 years ago.
5 years ago, it's just like don't be afraid to like make mistakes. There's no such thing as perfection. You know, I think for a long time I was actually afraid, like, you know, to fear failure. So it was just like I was almost afraid of what my own potential could be. Mm-hmm. It was just like it was a whole lot easier for me just not to try because it wasn't perfect.
Yeah.
And saying like, hey, you know what? This needs to happen in order for me to start this or whatnot. And I let that be a roadblock and I just stopped. So I would just tell my younger self, like, hey, you could fail doing something that you don't want to do. You might as well fail at doing something that you love.
Might as well.
Might as well. What can you lose? The same, right?
Yeah. You literally can't lose anything.
Can't lose anything.
Like, and it depends how you look at it, too. Because, like, if you have that mindset of, even if it doesn't work out, it's like, damn, I'm still here.
Right.
Like, I'm still doing something. All the losses you take in life is like, you can take it as a lesson. You can always learn from it.
Right.
And then use that to get better. Use that to improve.
Like, let me see, reasons, seasons, lessons, and blessings.
Yeah. You got a lot of like sayings and quotes.
Yeah, just throw them out there.
Throwing them out there, man. I'm gonna steal them. I'm stealing them too. And then last question: leave a message for the people out there, like on the people that follow us, man. You know, to the people that follow us, we have hella mutuals.
Okay, man.
Leave a message for the people, man.
Okay, this is like the greatest thing that I can give y'all. Like, experience is the best teacher, but it's the slowest way to learn. It's somebody out there that's doing something that you want to do and they want to help you. I want you to imagine yourself like being at the top of your career, doing your thing, enjoying what you're doing, and how I feel when you first got started. If somebody else that's looking to you and you can see where they're at, it'd be so much more beneficial for them to actually get help for you, but they close themselves off. So that's why I say experience is the best teacher, but it's the slowest way to learn. Like, life is too short for you to make all the mistakes on your own. You know, you ain't got to learn that the stove is hot. You ain't got to get burnt for that. Just, like, take it for somebody else that's been there before.
Wise words for the great John Fedrick. John, I appreciate, having you on, man. It was a pleasure, man, for sure.
Bro.
Yes, sir. For those of y'all watching, I know y'all gonna love it. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe if you're watching this on YouTube. If you're on Spotify, share this link to your story. Share this link to a friend, family member, anyone out there who is a self-improvement junkie, a spiritual junkie, fitness junkie. Send this to them, man. They'll love it. Let them hear this thing out, man, and hopefully we can make the world a better place one day at a time.
Right.
But that's going to wrap this thing up. Y'all know how I always end it off. Be different. Be a one of one. I'm out. Peace. Yes, sir.